Well, hello, my name is Jim Grindstaff. I'm with General Electric, and I'm here today to talk about the new Panda infant warmer you just purchased for your department. So I'm going to go over the basic operation of the warmer with you and some things that are maybe specific to your unit, but all clinical decisions will come directly from your department's administrators, but I'm going to go through the basics with you. So first off, you want to make sure it's plugged into the wall, okay? You want to make sure your power is plugged in, and you want to make sure both your air and your O2 are plugged in, because it does have a blender for the resuscitation package, so you must have both air and oxygen plugged in. Okay? There's a main power switch on the back that can be left on. That is basically a main power switch to give power to the bed, not an on-off switch. It's basically like your breaker in your home, so that can stay on. But if you ever turn it on and it gives you a power failure, number one, make sure it's plugged in. Number two, make sure that that power switch is on. Okay, the on-off switch is right here. So you push this up. As soon as you turn the bed on, it's going to go into an automatic preheat mode. So it's going to go to 100% power for 7 minutes, and then it's going to back itself down to 50% power and stay there indefinitely without alarming. Okay? So understanding that you're not going to have a tremendous amount of time before a baby arrives, you want to just turn this on as far in advance as you can, with the understanding that you may not have a lot of time. Okay, so as soon as you turn it on, like I said, it's going to go through a few screens, just like your computer, and it's going to come up to this screen. This is our pre-warming screen. So this little red line is at 100%. So after 7 minutes, you'll see this back itself down to 50, and it'll just stay there without the alarm. Okay, so this can be sitting plugged in and warming as you're getting ready for as much time as you have. Okay, now as soon as the baby arrives, you want to hit this button here. The screen is not touchscreen, it's all soft keys on the side. Okay, so what I'm asking you to do is hit this button at the top here that says APGAR. What this does is it takes it out of the preheat, and then it starts your APGAR timer for you. So now this will give you your APGAR timer tone at 1 minute, 5 minutes, and 10 minutes. And it'll give you audible and a visual. Next, you'll notice that it's blinking and it's beeping. This is not an alarm. This is a notification that the default setting is 100. But it wants the clinician, you, to acknowledge that this is at 100%. So what you want to do is either hit the up or the down arrow to just acknowledge that that's at 100%, and that'll stop blinking. That'll continue to beep and blink until you acknowledge it. Okay. Now, your first order of operation is at 100%. So the baby just arrived. The baby's on the bed. You're going to keep it at 100% just long enough to dry the baby off, resuscitate him if need be, get him stable, and then what you want to do is take it out of the 100% as soon as you can. You do not want to leave it at 100% for any length of time. And by the way, that's your 1 minute APGAR that the tone just went off. Okay. So the baby's stable, he's dried. Okay, now you want to put it in baby mode. So the first thing you want to do is you want to plug your temperature probe, this is your temperature probe, into the side of the bed. Okay, the plug is shaped as so it'll only go in one way. Okay, and this is the thermistor part of the probe. This probe you want firmly on the baby's skin. Okay, we recommend putting this closer to the axillary. Okay, the axillary line, maybe even nipple high. Okay, because we want a close correlation between your axillary temperature and the skin temperature. Okay, it's never exact, but you want to get it as close as you can. So you want to make sure the thermistor part is as firmly placed on the skin as possible, and then you want to make sure you use a skin heat, these are called heat reflecting patches. What this does is reflects the heat off of the patch so that you get a true skin temperature. Okay, now you should find these in your drawer on the bed. They could be the shape of a heart or a bear. Okay, just it's going to be shiny on one side, and it's going to have some type of insulation on the inside. Okay, so to do that, you put the probe on the baby, and then what you want to do is hit this button here. What this does switches it between manual and baby. Okay, initially it's going to alarm at you because the set temperature is outside 2 degrees of your actual temperature. Okay, so what you want to do is silence the alarm. Okay, but it's going to continue to blink. And this is the same as your manual setting, where it's asking you to validate the default. Okay, so what you want to do is hit the up or the down arrow to validate that's where you want the skin temperature. Okay, now the top number is your baby's actual temperature. Okay, so now you see that it's red. Okay, so it's still outside that range. Okay, now once the temperature falls within the range, it'll turn back to green. Oh, get it back up to the range. Thank you. Okay, so if it's not red, that means we were within the range. Okay, now if your bed's alarming, okay, this is one way to silence your alarm, is this yellow button here, your alarm silence button. Okay, the other way to silence your alarm is wave your hand. If you're sterile and you're working with the baby, if you want to silence the alarm without contaminating yourself after being sterile, take your hand and wave it. Okay, 6 inches from this square in the middle of the light. Okay, so just wave your hand 6 inches. It won't work here, it won't work out here, so your hand just has to be 6 inches from this square. Okay. Okay. Right. This here knob is a dimmable observation light. Okay. Under menu, it's not at the bottom. Okay. Your options are AppGuard. You can turn this off. Remember, we turned the bed on using this mode and it automatically started, but if you want to turn that off, you can. The trend screen, you can trend the temperature. So if they arrive to pick up the baby and you want to trend where the temperature, the baby's temperature has been for a period of time, you can look at a trend screen. Okay. When you do get the scale, if you get a scale, you'll have a scale icon. Okay, in this menu option, so basically you just follow the instructions. Once you hit the scale, it'll show you how to zero it out. Okay. Also under menu setup, you can change it from Celsius to Fahrenheit. We will have it set to Fahrenheit for you, but you can change it on the fly if you'd like. You can change the alarm volume. Okay. I'll have the clock set for you, and then this is irrelevant. You don't have an elevating base. Okay, so as far as the screen, my audience that's in the room now, is that all the information you want on the screen itself? Okay.
Yes.
Now, this separate section is your resuscitation package, okay? This is simply a suction regulator, no different than what's on your wall over there, okay? This is the same thing. This is your regulator, okay? Your suction canister, if you do use this suction regulator, is down on that side of the bed, okay? Below this gray line, okay, are your gases, okay? So these toggle switches work independently of each other. This one is below the gray line is your suction, above the gray line is your suction, below the gray line is your gases. As soon as you turn this on, this turns on your gases, okay? And you have 2 flow meters that are both connected to a blender. So wherever you have your FiO2 set, you will get the same percentage out of both flow meters. This is a standard flow meter, no different than what's hanging on your wall now, okay? This one here is what we call a T-piece, or neopuff is the industry term. And what this does is allow you to manually control your PIP and your PEEP, okay, opposed to using a bag and mask, okay? So both flow meters, both connected to the blender. The first thing in order of operation you always want to do is set your FiO2 first, okay? If you want to use your standard flow meter, plug your hose in here, and then this here is your airway manometer if your bag does not have an airway manometer. This is where you would look at your pressure as you deliver your breath to your baby, okay? Your TP circuit, or your neopuff, is different, okay? The circuit size, if you notice, is different. So the circuit for the T-piece will come in a bag with just the hose itself. Your mask will be supplied by the facility, and this circuit will come all in one package. Okay, so once you open it from the package, you plug it in just like you would your flow meter, but a different size. okay, you're going to have a little blue cap on the circuit itself. Keep this cap on while you're setting your pressures because it gives you a good seal. Okay. Now to set your pressure, you put your finger over the hole, okay, preclude the hole, and then you dial it. This knob here is your pip. This is your pressure. This is your peak inspiratory pressure. This is your breath. Typically we say that somewhere around 20, okay. This will stop you at 30, okay. So you want to set your pressure first, your breath, and then your bottom number, see the needle at the bottom, is adjusted by the toggle switch on the circuit itself. This is your PEEP. This is how much air is left in the lung after you deliver the breath. Okay? So after you have it set, your PEEP and your PIP, okay, you're going to take your cap off. You're going to put your mask on. Okay? Now to deliver your breath, you're going to preclude the hole. Okay? So your finger over the hole, this is your I time. That's your I time. Okay? Now because you have PEEP, you can do blow by simply putting the mask over the baby. Because you have a PEEP of say 5, you can do blow by, you have free flow there. Okay. 4 minutes? Oh. Okay, so you turn this off. If you have tanks on the back of the warmer, you can check your, just crack your tanks and you can see how much gas you have in your tanks. Okay. If you want to put the walls down, just pull up and slowly guide it down. Okay. There's a place here for your X-ray cassettes. Okay. You've got 2 drawers, and they open from both sides. They're pass through, so you can access the door from both sides of the bed. Okay. And then you can tilt the bed. My hand here is resting your hand here and pulling this metal bar towards you, and you can tilt the bed up and down. Okay. And the brakes on the canisters, you just push down, and you can lock the bed in place. Any questions?
No questions. And then just the technical support number is right here on the front. This is a 24-hour hotline. If you guys are in the middle of the night and you need some help, this is where you're going to call.